Mute. Sonal, you are in mute.
Hey everyone, welcome to this special session from Mazuladur Developer Student Community and KUZ that presents Developer Days, month-long celebration for developers. It is platform partner DevPolio, authentication partner Savo Labs, supported by Script Foundation and streaming partner StreamYard. Sorry.
Okay. So hello everyone. I think Sonal is a bit nervous, but today I'm here. I'm Dan Krawat from Developer Student Community and Sonal from Mazdur presents towards you a special session from Developer Days, that is how to start your open source contributions. And we have special guests today. Let me start with the first one, Karthik Soneji, a software developer at Umilias, former GSOC student at MariaDB Foundation, and another special guest we have Jay Kumar Devani, a software engineer at Carl Zeiss Vision, VTS R&D, and he is graduated from Triple IT Naya Raipur. I'd just like to welcome both of them on the stream. Hey Jay, hey Karthik.
Okay, thanks for
Hello,
the
Vinayak.
warm.
Okay, so I guess it's the time that you should take over the screen and the stage is yours.
Right.
Karthik,
Thanks,
go ahead.
Vinayak. Yes. So let me share my screen. Let's see. So before we start, I would like to just go over some the basics. What is open source? Why are we so focused on open source? Why do so many companies, especially now, when as algorithm based and whiteboard based interviews are going out, why so many companies are focusing on open source contributions as proxy for for performance, for developer performance? So Jay, I'm sure when you interviewed in your company or when you went for placements, they must have looked at your open source contribution, your GitHub profiles, as a proxy for how good you are as a developer, right?
Right, yeah. They even picked out some projects out of the blue and asked me about them. And
Yes.
luckily, I remembered a few things.
Yes. So PSA, do not lie on your resume. Never goes well. Right. So yes, where was I? Open source. Why are we so focused with open source? So let me share the Wikipedia page for open source and let me know when it is visible. Yes, great. So Wikipedia defines open source as open source software is computer software that is released under a license in which the copyright holder grants users the right to use, study, change, and distribute the software and source code to anyone for any purpose. Now, the most basic fundamental concept of open source is that software that you release, software that you work with, should not be restricted. The source code should not be restricted just to the developers. It should be distributed freely. That is the first point, and not just distributed freely. You should be able to take that source code, modify it, use it however you see fit, and redistribute it under your own name, as long as you retain the original license. So what this means for developers, what this means for software, is that software gets better as more and more people come and work on it. If you go to the homepage for GitHub, it has a very, very powerful statement. So sorry, this is the GitHub page. Let me go to home. Yes. So if you look at GitHub, it says with the world built software. And that for the most part is true, because open source is so ubiquitous, it is so generalized that almost every single piece of software that you have interacted with, right from Chrome, your browser, to VLC media player, or Android itself is open source. Your phone operating system is open source. Even iOS, which is one of the most proprietary systems out there, iOS, macOS. Apple is one of the most proprietary companies that you will find. Even they have to rely on open source to deliver most, if not all, of their software updates of the libraries, the basic building blocks of their platforms. And that is why, because open source is so necessary for the modern web, for the modern software development life cycle, it is good to have at least a little background in, if not contributing, if just understanding how open source works. Right. Now, one thing about open source is that everything is voluntary. There are no companies, there is no one big, huge corporation that is controlling everything. Everything is run by developers. It is run by volunteers who donate their time, essentially, and energy and expertise to these projects. And that is what allows them to grow so quickly, so huge. So if I look for React, which is a very, very popular library, as I'm sure all of you know. If I go to React, there is a user called React. Good to know.
I think it's React.js.
Oh yes. So Facebook React, right? Because Facebook, of course. So if you look at the number of contributors, you'll see there are around 1,500 contributors, 1,500 contributors for React. And most of them are developers like you and me. There is no special requirement. There is no barrier to entry, and that is what makes open source so powerful. That is what enables projects to grow so quickly. Anyone who wants to take help the project can come in, look at the code, look at the issues, and try to improve it. Right. So I know the talk is titled, how to get into open source. And I sincerely think the best way for you to get started is to just pick a project. Any project, doesn't matter if it is big or small. If you work with React, why not fix an issue in React? Why not give back to the library you are so reliant on? Or if you want to pick up a new language, then don't use it as a testing ground for for learning. Like don't use that repositories, developers as free mentorship. But if you know the basics, if you can understand, and if you are fluent in the language, if you can maybe write a hello world program, maybe know the basics of computer science, what is a string, what is an integer, what is a function, what is an object. If you know these basics, then I think you do not need to wait for anyone. You don't need to wait to get more experience before you start actually working with open source. You start contributing to open source. Right. So today I want to show you how easy it is actually to get a fully functioning take a big project. Not as big as React, because React is pretty huge. There are a lot of developers working on it, but a smaller project called Yari. I don't know if you have heard of Yari. So,
and just to mention one thing, like in this React page, you can see around 1,500 contributors, which GitHub lists them as contributors. But there probably might be more people who are just commenting on issues, maybe providing help to people, fix issues,
yes.
guide them. Yeah. So it's not just those 1,500 people. There are definitely more who haven't contributed directly to code. Maybe they contributed to Wiki. I'm not sure if GitHub adds them as contributors or not, but yeah.
Right. So yes. So anyone who has committed code, only they are unfortunately included in this contributors section. But yes, anyone who has worked on the documentation, anyone who has worked on the website, anyone who has suggested something, anyone who has reviewed code, all of them are contributors. All of them have helped the project move forward. So yes, this is Yari. So most of you, if you are web developers, or even if you have ever worked with CSS or JavaScript or HTML, you will have visited this website called MDN Docs, right? The MDN Mozilla Development Network documentation site. It is so. Let me share that screen with you. It is the de facto standard in the web docs for anything, for documentation related to anything web, be it HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Now they're even diversifying into backend technologies like Node and Python. But MDN is so widespread that even VS Code directly links to MDN for most of its HTML and CSS documentation. Even a lot of JavaScript documentation is directly pulled from MDN because, again, MDN is open source, Mozilla. So it is quite, it is one of the forerunners of the open source system. And the MDN web docs echoes that philosophy in that all the documentation, all the information is again licensed under the MPL, the Mozilla Public License. The website itself and the front end. So the front end that you see, the pages that you see, the content. So this is the blog. If I go to say JavaScript and click on a topic, maybe I don't know, the reintroduction to JavaScript. So everything that you're seeing right here is a custom React application. It is a custom React backend called Yari. It uses, okay, this is an excellent implementation of a Jamstack application. Jamstack, for people who know what is Jamstack, it is JavaScript APIs and JavaScript M for I think it is so.
I never knew it had a full form.
Yes,
I
yes.
always thought Jamstack means just jamming everything together, and that's literally what it is.
Right.
It's JavaScript, API, and markup because we write
markup,
all the.
Of course. Yes, API and markup. So the benefit of a Jamstack application and the reason why it is so popular is that it reduces your server loads. It means that your site can scale very quickly, and it offloads a lot of the computationally expensive part as much as is feasible to the client. So that way you are not going back and forth with your server. So this has many advantages. As I said, it can help you scale, it reduces your server loads, it results in better performance for the client. But that is just, I digress. But if anyone wants to look at how a Jamstack website should be built, this is an excellent example. So yes, this is Yari. This is the backend for MDN. The reason I selected this is it is not a very big project. As you can see, only around 3,400 commits and 72 contributors. More importantly, they have a large backlog of issues. So I would suggest if you want to start, this is as good as place as any. And MDN has Mozilla has a huge massive community of developers that will be happy to help you if you want to get involved. So as I said, I'll be taking an issue from here and solving it. So before you look at the issues tab, like this is how I would start looking at a repository I was interested in to contribute in. I would first go to the README because read the manual, right? This is the first step you should do before you do anything about any repository. Go to GitHub, go to the repository, read the README. You don't have to read it from line by line, not from the first line to the last line, but still go through the README. That is, it'll be a good starting point at least for the.
Maybe just scan over it. What would you say?
Yes.
Flip. Yeah, we flip pages.
So most READMEs have a quick start that will tell you how to quickly get it installed, get it set up. Then there is license, of course. This is Mozilla, so Mozilla public license. Then how it works. This is good to read if you have no idea about the project. If you before you start actually working with the project, it's good to know how it works. Then this is setting up editor. These are steps specific to the project itself. Every project won't have this. Some projects have no README, but for now, let us stick to the ones that do. Again, these are suggestions. This building. Right, and this is the end. Now, these are common troubleshooting errors. Please. I know I speak on the behalf of developers everywhere. Please go through the troubleshooting steps that are listed in the README or in the document, in the FAQ, in the documentation, in the docs before you ask someone a question, because often the most common errors are already listed so that they don't have to answer the same question over and over again. But but that is what happens. So please, for the sake of all the developers, all the everywhere, read the docs, try to find if your error has been, someone else has got your error, or if it has already been solved before you ask a question. That is one of the big rules that if you follow, it'll get you more people will be more likely to help you.
And one more place you can, I prefer to look at is issues. So when we go to issues tab, you will see that
Yes.
there's a search
Right.
option. So you can
Oh, yes.
search about the whatever the error your application threw, and probably someone would have logged an issue and the maintainers would have commented out how to solve that. So it's better to not raise a duplicate issue and just search for once.
Yes. Okay. So after that, after reading the README, you can go to the code of conduct. I mean, just skim through if there is something in particular, but most likely, follow common sense. Don't start insulting anyone. Don't use, radical language. Don't never attack people. Attack ideas and
Yeah.
this standard stuff. Right? Be respectful, and then you should be fine. Then there is
Basically, in a single line, don't be Shrikaran. I hit someone, I'm sorry.
Right. So that is one of the reasons that Shrikaran doesn't contribute to open source, because of his attitude. But yes. Okay. So after code of conduct, if there's a contributing.md file, there usually is. That doesn't seem to be here. So if there is a contributing.md, then go through that. That usually lists the steps to start contributing. If there isn't, then no issues. But we can move on.
Yeah, usually contributing MD would recommend something like how should you name your branch's name, if there is any steps you need to follow before creating a PR, basically linting your code or testing your code, running local test or something like that. That's usually what is listed out in contributing.md, and anything specific if they need it.
Yes. Okay. Now the next step now will vary depending on how experienced you are with contributing. If you feel confident that you can find an issue and fix it yourself, and great, go ahead. But otherwise, and I would still recommend this, even if you feel you're confident, just go to Google. Just go to Google and then type in the org name space dev chat. So this is usually listed on GitHub in the contributing.md. If not in the contributing.md, definitely check the README. But if it is not in those two places, then type in, for example, mdn developer chat. And there should be a messaging room. So maybe it is Mozilla. Yes, discourse. So Mozilla is this is the discourse community, the mailing form, and feel free, like, before you start contributing, or before you start working with any project, it is good to get in touch with the developers, whether you're not sure, whether you're not you want some advice, if you want maybe some steps to get started. But it is good to have something. It's good to get in touch with the developers once before you start contributing. They will be able to help you with common pitfalls. They'll be able to help you with the maybe the setup if you are facing issues in that. Mostly with the more complex a project is, the more low level a project is, the more the developers you will need the developers help to get set up, right? So there is a discourse Mozilla, because it is such a large foundation. Mozilla has many different chat rooms, so to speak. But yes, so depending on which one, which project you're contributing to, you might have to work on different chat groups. But that is fine. Right, now back to the project, back to the actual GitHub page. So, okay, just to recap, you found a project, you found a good repository that you would like to contribute to. Then you went to the README, you went to contributing.md. You maybe got in touch with the developers. You found the chat link. It is usually IRC or Discord or Zulip or emailing list. Mailing lists are getting less popular nowadays, but some projects like Git and Linux still use them. So mailing lists or whatever way, you got in touch with the developers, and now the next step is look at the quick start and then start setting up the project, right? So let me now open my development environment. This might take a second.
Are you going to do that locally, or are we going to spin up a remote server?
Right, so I will be using something called a Gitpod. Gitpod is a online development environment. For now, you do not need to know the details. Like, if you do not know what Gitpod is, then it is perfectly fine. Just follow along. The steps would be the same as VS Code or any normal development environment. If you do want to learn about Gitpod, then I would highly suggest, because I highly recommend it, because it is easy, it is quick. You do not bog down your local machine with heavy running, especially again with low level development, C, Go, with compiled languages. The compilation step is quite resource intensive. So sometimes it is better to use an online server for that. So let me spin up a server.
Just to ask, is Gitpod free?
Yeah, so Gitpod is okay. So for anyone, as when you sign up, like, we are not sponsored or anything. I wish we were, but we are not sponsored by Gitpod. Just as a disclaimer. But for the first 50 hours, when you create an account, you get 50 hours for free, and then if you like, there is a special program called Open Source Contributor. Like, if you are okay, let me show that to you. So
So while he's opening Gitpod, I think Shrikaran was asking to explain about Gitpod. To lay it out in simple terms, Gitpod is basically a remote server where you are handed out, I think, a VS Code by default, and you can clone a Git repo, as the name says, Gitpod. And yeah, you can install different things, packages, and run the project and commit back from there. So it's basically a remote machine, uh, more or less a remote machine. I think there would be some limitations to it, but yeah, I haven't used it. I would think that you cannot host your website there for like, it would have a logout limit, something like that.
yes, so there's a timeout limit of 30 minutes, I think, for the free account, and then 1 hour for paid accounts. But yes, it is not a substitute for a server.
Yeah.
You cannot host it. You cannot use it to host your website. But yes, 1 second.
Yeah, I always found cloning repos, which I'm not sure I would need. Bit hassle, like, yeah.
Yes, that is. If once you integrate Git, if you okay. So another repository I'm bringing up. Sorry to delay the actual coding part, but One second, I'll send a link.
Are you there, Shri? Karthik? Okay, looks like Karthik is gone. Oh, you're on mute, Karthik. Uh,
All right, sorry. So, okay, let me temporarily switch again. Right. So this is FreeCodeCamp. By the way, FreeCodeCamp is another excellent website if you want to learn how to code. If you they have tutorials on JavaScript, on React. So it is a non-profit, excellent, highly recommended way to learn to code. But yes, so FreeCodeCamp is fully open source. The back end, the front end, the website itself is open source. So it is built in React, and you see the setup automated tag. I think it is called a batch. Now you can integrate Gitpod with your repository. So to the extent that whenever you push a commit, say to a staging branch, or to whenever you open a pull request, it will automatically build the repository. You clone the repository, build the repository, get everything set up, and then give you a link, give the developers a link. So that way it greatly reduces code review times. It cuts down on code review times. And you don't the biggest benefit is that you don't have to watch your repository build. So for example, if I click on if I go to a pull request and say open a random pull request, then you should see that yes, the Gitpod bot will automatically comment with a link open in Gitpod, and if I click this link, it will open this pull request. It will set up everything automatically in Gitpod, and I can get right to contributing. So if you are again, this is very very advanced stuff. If you don't understand, please don't worry. But Gitpod makes it very very easy for contributors to start. So it might be it might be a good idea to look for repositories that have set up Gitpod as opposed to those that haven't. But keep in mind that this is not essential, is not required. You can definitely work with repositories locally. Sometimes it is better to work with them locally as over Gitpod, because you might need to access the file system directly, or you might need to use external tools or something. Especially if it doesn't, especially if you are not very familiar with Linux command line tools, if you are more familiar with Windows, because Gitpod only has Linux servers. So let me go back to Gitpod right now. So I'll share the screen, and
damn, I did not know this cool feature. Like, yeah, because even
so yeah.
while reviewing
Yes.
PRs on my project, it was a hassle to bring the changes on a local and test the PRs and then actually approve them. Yeah, that's always
Yeah.
nice.
So, oh yes, the reason I bought a FreeCodeCamp is they have done a very very nice integration with Gitpod. So if anyone later on, if anyone wants to go back and set up an integration with Gitpod, please look at FreeCodeCamp, see what they have done. That is a good basis, good starting off point. Okay, now I think we have digressed enough from the topic. Here we have Gitpod. Gitpod is clear the console. Yes, Gitpod will give you a VS Code like environment. It is in fact VS Code running on the server, and this is just ported over to the client. It is, instead of rendering into Electron. For those of you who do not know, VS Code is simply a glorified browser which runs the V8 engine, that is Chrome's JavaScript engine, and some custom front end in the in your basically it's a container. It is a single web page. It is a very specific web page that is bundled into an app. So what there is another project called Thea, which is fully open source, but again that is another rabbit hole I do not want to get into right now. But basically they have taken VS Code and they're running VS Code on the server on a server somewhere, and you are using your browser as the front end instead of the Electron app itself. So please do not again, if you don't understand anything, all this is not important. This is just background information. Actually, we'll start right now. So the first step to set up the repository is, of course, clone the repository. For that, I'm assuming that most of you know the basics of Git and GitHub. If not, then there are several other talks in the in the previous days that you can refer back to. But so I'm assuming all of you are familiar with that. So git clone, git clone repository name. That is the standard way to run a repository. Now, normally when you run git clone, you'll get the entire history. But as we saw that the repository has around 3,400 commits. So there is no point in getting all those commits. From the beginning of the repository, because we don't need them right now. So I can pass in a parameter called depth 1, which will only get the latest version of the commit. Will only get the latest version of the code. So without all the history, without all the extra stuff. So the benefit is that it clones much faster. So if I would have cloned the entire repository, okay, let me just show that. Let us do a timing comparison. That one was almost instantaneous. Now, if I mkdir ere dash full and then run git clone without the depth parameter, then look at how sorry, I have to cd into it. Then look at how long it takes. Yes. Now, because, okay, one of the benefits of doing it on Gitpod is that since it is a server, it is in a dedicated server with a very high bandwidth connection. Even operations that would normally take a long time happen very quickly, especially network operations. So here you can see that my speed was 28.3 megabytes per second, not megabits, megabytes per second. And here you can see it transferred 68 MB as opposed to just 1.7 MB earlier. So we do not need the entire history. So I'll remove this on mrf carry full and get back to my repository. Right. Now, if you are following along, I would recommend you open the README in another tab. Jay, can you please post the repository link in the chat for them to be able to follow along? So I will be going for a quick start. Yes.
Shekhar, can you do that? I'm away.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So I can also open the README right here in Gitpod. I should be able to do.
It's at the bottom, Karthik. No, it's on the bottom.
No. Why use a GUI when you have a command?
Right. You just had to flex.
But please learn to use the command. It's good for you. Okay. Now, see, we got to see the secret comments that people leave in Markdown. So here is the quick start. I missed the quick start. Here is the quick start. So install git install node. We have already done that. So Gitpod already comes with that, to be more accurate. Fork the repository. Now I have already forked the repository. That is not necessary here. I'm just showing you how to set it up. Then clone the repository. We have to clone content and the repository, right? So now these steps are, if you ask, like people will reply, people will guide you through the setup, but it is better if you are smart enough to just read the instructions, right? That is the least you can do. So
Yeah,
I'll be
especially since Oktoberfest is starting right now, you're going to see a lot of people join, open source project messaging chats, messaging servers rather. And the best way you can stand out is by doing your own homework, uh, coming to people with a problem after you've tried a couple of different solutions. You say, "Yeah, I had this problem. I tried this, this, and this. Is there any other thing that I could do?" That's the easiest way to get into the good books of any maintainer slash contributor.
yes, that is
So
true.
sorry for hijacking your stream, Karthik.
No, go ahead, please. So yes, what Shrikant said is very, very true. Especially with Hacktoberfest, you will see a lot of people. The maintainers will be very busy with with answering queries, and since a lot of people get into open source through Hacktoberfest, which is both a good and a bad thing. That is. You can look at last year's articles. Look at last year's Hacktoberfest for if you want to see the drama that unfolded last year. But yes, be little be aware that especially in October, people will be slightly slower to respond to your you know to your queries, to your questions. So be patient. That is all.
And use
And
Google. Be
try to
patient and use Google.
yes, please learn to use Google. This is a running pet peeve of mine that people, if they learn to read, sorry, where is it coming from? Shikar, I
Yes.
think you are not muted. Yes. So as I was saying, running it is by pet peeve of mine that people learn to use Google and learn to read error messages. You will automatically be able to solve, I would say, 70 to 80% of all computer issues. Just a combination of learning to read error messages as error message, like read them properly. Don't just gloss over. Read them and learn how to Google. Learn how to use Google.
The other 10% can be solved by DMing Karthik Sonali.
uh, right. So yes, here I'm cloning the content. This is what they instruct me. So here I'm cloning the content. It is done. So now, as they requested, I have two folders. I have content and Yari. Now I will do cd Yari and then yarn install. Again, most of software development is just following instructions, learning how to follow instructions. None like the actual innovative part comes after you follow instructions. So unless you are able to do this, I would seriously reconsider, in the nicest way possible, please. But I would seriously reconsider career in software development.
Karthik, your personality is starting to leak.
Right. Yes. Oh, and please, if you are seriously considering open source development, learn to be a little bit thick-skinned. Some like it is not that people want to be rude, but sometimes especially after a long day, people can snap, or sometimes things are lost in translation. Sometimes the tone is not conveyed in text. So just learn to be a little thick-skinned. Don't take offense easily. So, yes.
Thick skin, especially in October.
Oh, yes.
And also especially around Karthik.
So,
Okay. So right now we are setting up the project. Great.
right. This is exactly what Gitpod is trying to avoid happen. Developers sitting around staring at progress bars, waiting for things to install. So, yes. Welcome to software development.
Till that happens, I think we can maybe check the next step, what we are going to do.
Right.
Or
No,
do
let them.
you have anything?
It is good to introduce people to your life as a developer. So Most of it is waiting for progress bars and then using it as an excuse to get distracted by YouTube. But yes, for now we have time, so let us move on. So
My
while
code is
this,
compiling is the best excuse you'll ever get to slack off.
oh yeah,
Yep.
now unfortunately for some developers, some interpreted languages like Python and Node.js have become more common, so you cannot use that excuse any longer. That is why I personally prefer to work with low-level code that has to be compiled, like C, C++, Java. That way you can, you get maybe half an hour between compilation sessions, especially for larger projects. Yes. So in the meanwhile, while that sets up, let us move on to the next step. Um, so let me share my screen. Let me know when it is visible. Yes. Huh. Oh, wrong tab. GUI is hard. That is why I like CLI. Right. So I'm assuming my screen is visible. Yes, it is.
There's a good
So-
question that came on the screen,
Yes.
Karthik.
Oh yes,
I think we
please.
can, all three of us can cover it. How do I pull up a chat on to... Dheeraj, could you pull the last question from Amit onto the screen? Yes, beautiful. Is open source always free?
Oh, okay. So would you like to go first, Rika? Jay?
Sure.
Ah,
Oh, okay. Jay,
go ahead.
go.
I don't think is there a way around this other than just saying yes.
Yes is the
Okay.
simple answer. There are a lot of different mechanics that go on.
No,
behind.
actually,
A particular,
Srikaran, the best answer is yes and no.
yes. What I particularly like is the mechanic that most SaaS companies have adopted. No, open source SaaS companies rather. Basically, selling software as a service. Your code, everything is open source. People can build your project from scratch and host it themselves. That's all of that is free. But if they want a simple no hassle solution, that is a hassle free solution to just get up and running in one click, that will cost you money along with the hosting charges. That is something that I really like about some of the SaaS companies that are around right now. But yes, Karthik, go on.
Yes.
Before
So,
Karthik goes ahead,
oh yes, please. Yes.
one good example of this is Elastic Beans, no, Elasticsearch. Yes, yeah, Elasticsearch is open source completely, but they have their own service where you can pay them to, where they'll manage the whole service and they'll provide you, they'll help you in developing developer issues, and because they're the ones who created the software, they are the best people in the whole world to go, like, to reach out for problems. So they're basically
Right.
selling their
Expertise.
experience and
Yes.
their expertise. Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yep.
another model. Yes, but Amit, I think, was it Amit? Right? Amit, yes. So the correct answer with a lot of things, unfortunately, is it depends. Open source, one of the very first. If you look at the GNU public, sorry, if you look at the GNU public license, that was many consider which that to be the first instance, the beginning of open source. Then it is very clear that open source does not equal free. It is not that open source forbids you from making money. It is just that if you sell your software, then you must also make the source code available. Okay, that is the first part. And you must allow the people who receive the source code to distribute it to everyone else. Right. So, good example, excellent example is Linux. Now, every single Linux distribution is in some way or the other built on the Linux kernel. That is what makes it a Linux distribution. Now, the kernel itself is open source. You can take the kernel, do with it what you wish. Now, what people do, what they take the kernel, they build different distributions like Ubuntu, Debian. Debian is built on Ubuntu is built on Debian, but there is Fedora, there is maybe Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So there are paid versions of Linux. It is not that paid versions don't exist. There are paid versions of Linux, but the common thread is that you must provide the source code to anyone who receives the software. So if you are selling the source code to say the software itself, 10 people, you must allow them, if they request it, you must give them the source code, and you must give the same permissions to them. That is the biggest thing that trips people up, that you can sell the program, you can sell the source code, but anyone who receives the source code can distribute it for free. Now, why? Like, if you cannot directly forbid them from doing that, you cannot. That is against the license. But if they have an economic interest, or if they have a selfish interest in not distributing the code, then you can get away with using open source software, or even distributing your code as open source and selling it to someone without giving the source code. Right. So it is a very, very complex topic. Yeah, I think, yes, there is a link in the chat called Choose a License, where they have explained it nicely, like what you can and cannot do with software. MIT in general is the most permissive, so you can sell MIT software. There is nothing stopping you from that. GNU GPL is, especially version 3, is quite restrictive. LGPL is slightly less restrictive. AGPL is the most restrictive. So AGPL software will not allow you to even run code on a server without distributing the source code. So that is what Shrikar mentioned. A lot of SaaS companies, they will have the core product open source and just charge you for hosting, which I feel is a fair thing. Right? You are paying for not the software, but you are paying for the services that they offer. Right. So
also,
back to yes.
The moment you actually start working professionally, you realize that you can no longer randomly pull code from open source repositories without thinking twice about it. Because now, anytime I want to integrate any open source code into what I'm building at work, I need to double check and triple check the license to make sure that we are allowed to make a profit off of that code before I actually pull it in. Otherwise, that leads to a lot of different legal issues that you really don't want to be involved in. So get into the habit of reading the licenses for the open source projects that you're considering using. Yeah. Anyways, Karthik.
Yes. Or you can also get work at an open source company, and that way you don't have to worry about licenses.
Yes, that's true.
That is another valid reason. But yes, back to the issue at hand. So right now we are yes. So again, to recap, you selected a project. You have selected an open source project that you wish to contribute to. Then you have read the README thoroughly. You have read the code of conduct, you have read the contributing guidelines, you have introduced yourself to the developers, and are now setting up the project. While the project sets up, which is still going to take around 1 or 2 minutes more because Node, while the project sets up, we will look for an issue. You look for an issue that you feel is that you want to solve and you are able to solve. Now, a lot of repositories will have issues labeled as good first issues for this explicit reason. So you can look for those. Or you can also ask the developers, in many cases, they will be happy to provide issues that are beginner friendly, that they think that are a good fit for you. If you are using something personally, if you notice an issue that you are personally annoyed by in a software, then that is an excellent place to start, because you know exactly what you want to fix and you have a motivation for fixing it. Right. So those are the different ways that you would find issues. Otherwise, you can always browse the issues list on issues tab on GitHub, and then simply pick one at random. Now this is not random. I scoped this out before the talk started, but I think this one is a good example. It is not too trivial. It is not very complex, and I think I should be able to finish it in, like, we should be able to finish it together in an hour. Um, Now, okay, before I start about Hacktoberfest. So for those of you who have gone and read last year's blog post, last year's tweets, you will know that last year Hacktoberfest made the change. They were overwhelmed by people making small, trivial contributions, adding a full stop, removing a full stop, spelling changes, documentation, not even documentation, README fixes. That those are the most common. And you have to understand, as I said in the beginning, that most of open source is voluntary. Most developers who work in open source, even for critical libraries, like now React and Angular are special. They are backed by large tech organizations, but otherwise curl, then most of the Linux code, the kernel, lot of very critical applications are developed by individuals in their spare time as volunteers. So please do not harass them for the sake of a t-shirt. I mean, it is very disheartening when you see people complain about Hacktoberfest, which is supposed to be a way for people to get into open source, turning into something like this. So if you do decide to submit PRs for Hacktoberfest, please submit. I try to fix issues that have been pending for a long time. Try to fix issues that are actually worth fixing. Do not open issues for the sake of fixing them. Do not fix one word typos or one letter typos and flood them, flood repositories with them. So yes, I think Shrikar wants to say something.
The worst part was people introducing typos while they were fixing other typos so that they could come back and make another PR to fix those typos. Yes, but no. Point is, even if you decide that open source is not for you, you don't really want to get into it, but you still want the free T-shirt. The least you can do is create your own repository, mark it with the appropriate Hacktoberfest label, create a PR and submit it to your own repository. While that is still not a great thing to do, because the whole purpose of this is to encourage open source contributions, you are at least not bothering other maintainers who could potentially spend that time fixing other major issues uh, rather than cleaning up spam pull requests.
And yes, rather than harassing developers, you can, if you do really want a t-shirt that badly, just make PRs on your own repository. That is counted. That is still counted. Just don't harass them. Yes. But please don't let this discourage you from open source contributions by all means. But just be mindful. Okay, just be mindful. Applies to most things in life. Now, Shikaran, if you could turn down the music. Yes. So so this issue seems nice. Now, whenever you first come across an issue, I would suggest that you read the whole conversation. Now, fortunately this one is short. This is short enough. Like only 3 comments, but even if it is a long one, then at least skim the discussion. See what the people before have commented. See what they have. The what are the thoughts, what are there any suggestions already mentioned, are there the concerns that about this fix, about this change. So it's good to go through whatever they have posted first, whatever the maintainers have posted first. So here we see that don't worry if you don't understand the the references, because these are most likely things in the code. Okay, one more very important issue is important skill that you need to learn before you get into open source is how to not give up, how to not get intimidated by things you do not know. Like, you might see document, yes, you know what is a document, but what is fetch document? Then there is document.title. Then someone says that the perfect transition looks more like this. Then someone says link to doc URL, doc title. Now, most of these things, even I'm seeing this for the first time along with you. But the important thing to remember is that you skip over the parts you don't understand right now, and then come back to them later when you have a little bit more context, and you will usually understand them in reference to the code. So I can tell you from experience that fetch document is an internal function that is used by the React application to switch pages, to move from one URL to the other URL. But yeah, so you won't always understand this immediately, you won't always understand things immediately, but you need to persist, you need to stick with it. And again, this is where the developers come in. This is where you will have a lot of help with the with the issues with the repository from the developers. And that is why it is so important to find the developer chat and know that they are active before you start to work on an issue. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, yes. So now I have decided that I want to start. I'm to try to fix this issue. Change document title to loading. And now, okay, one more important thing is, just because the title says change the, do this, change document title to loading when changing documents, does it mean that that is exactly what you have to do? This is why you read the discussion. Now someone else feels that instead of changing the title to loading, a better way, the goal of the issue is to have some visual way of indicating to the user that the document is, that once they've clicked the link, that the document is loading. Do not click it again, otherwise the loading process will start again, and then it delays everything. So this is just some visual indicator that something is happening. So that is the goal of the issue. So that it doesn't mean, don't take it literally to mean that this is exactly what you have to implement and nothing else will do. Understand what the issue is trying to fix, and if you have a better solution or someone else has suggested a better solution, then by all means use that. Please, you think about how to achieve this goal, think of alternative ways to achieve this goal, and then pick the best way that you think. Okay, now now this person is saying that the perfect transition looks more like this. So let us take a look, let us see what he thinks should look like. It is a code sandbox, which means that it is an example, which is great. We can run this and see what he had in mind when he looked at this. Now so let us, okay, so this is an example page, and he thinks that when we click on the URL, it should change the URL itself to loading. It should be loading right in the title, right in the text itself. And I mean, that is a valid way of doing it. That is a more visual way of doing it, because not a lot of people look at the title of the web page when they click on a link. It is expected that something visual will happen. Now that is certainly one way of doing it, that is a perfectly valid way of doing it, but I am concerned that it will break the flow of the page, because if you look at MDN, you have a lot of links that are in between the sentence. And okay, for example, let me pull up a page right now. So yes, for example, if you look at this page not found error, which is excellent. If you look at this hypertext markup page, you have a lot of inline links, in the paragraph itself. Now, if we add loading right next to this, it will force the whole paragraph to reflow, right? So if I edit, I have the document, the developer tools open. Let me unlock that. Yes. So if I edit this directly, if I add loading right here, then it has the unfortunate side effect of pushing everything to the right. The whole layout of the page, the whole flow of the paragraph shifts. And in general, it is not good to have such large layout shifts in your UI. Shifting UI is seen as a bad thing, just for UI designers out there. Do not like you should not jump around. That is one of the primary rules of UI design. So I think while it would work for the navigation pages like this, like for the sidebar would benefit from having loading right in the title because the rest of the content won't be affected. But for inline links, I don't think that's a good idea. So going back to the issues, if you look at GitHub, I don't know if this will come across on stream, but when I click an issue on GitHub, it will show me a bar. Okay, I think Google does it better. If I go to say Android developer docs, so
I think we cannot see your title bar.
right, yes. Give me 1 second. Yes. So I think yes. Can you see my screen now? Can you see the Android developer documentation?
We can see just the tab. Just the GitHub tab, that is.
Oh, okay. So it is still loading.
Okay, yeah. While it's loading, I saw someone asking what is Hacktoberfest in chat. This is exactly what I was talking about when I was trying to say, do your homework first, do some Googling, try to find out on your own before coming and asking questions. See, I'm not going to say there is anything wrong with coming out and asking questions right out of the gate. That's how pretty much all of us started. Unless you had some sense for how open source and how the world works before you started asking questions, which is probably where Karthik is coming from. You probably had to learn this. Now take this opportunity to learn it. Whenever you see something that you're unfamiliar with and you feel like asking, slap yourself, go Google it, see if you can find the answer, do some digging, spend 5 minutes. 5 minutes of your time is all I'm asking for.
And we are here for the next hour, so don't be afraid that we'll be gone by the time you're researched about it.
Even after that, you can feel free to DM and pester Karthik all you want. Right?
Sure, of course.
Yes. So do some Googling, please do some research, do some homework, and then come explain what you did and what trouble you're still having, and people will be very, very, very happy to help you.
Okay, not very, very, very happy, but sure, yes.
Happy to help you.
Happy to. Yes. Please do not ask us.
See,
for
no.
the sake of
The reason I say people will be very, very, very happy is too often you see people asking questions without doing any sort of research whatsoever. And when you're used to that, when you get sick and tired of that, someone actually doing some work seems so, new and out of the blue that you genuinely do feel like helping them out.
Right. So I usually send people away, not very politely, when they ask me questions like that. So yes.
God helps those who help themselves. We should change that to Soneji helps those who help themselves.
Okay. Yes. So please, in general, even if not in open source, even in companies, wherever you were, wherever you end up, spend, I would say, at least just type in. Okay. If you have ever faced with an error, please copy paste your error into Google. I guarantee you will find at least one Stack Overflow question that has the exact same error. And you scroll down, there is an answer with step-by-step instructions on how to fix the error. So when you ask something like that,
remember to copy the code from the answer, not the question. Coming from personal experience.
Okay, that is a new level of incompetence. But yes, for those of you who are not like Sri Karan, just copy the error as it is, put it in Google. You don't even have to add anything else. Just copy paste the error, and then you will find a Stack Overflow. Most likely find a Stack Overflow question that has the exact same problem. Scroll down to the answer, and then fix the answer. Now, this may lead to people DMing you for help. In which case, congratulations, you have finally learned how to solve questions on your own. But yes, and it may also lead to people coming to you for tech help most of the time, which depending on how many friends you have, it may or may not be overwhelming at first, but yes.
I feel like Karthik is speaking from his heart out of personal experience.
Of course, I'm speaking from personal experience. I used to wake up to 10 DMs asking, for help.
See, that's what happens when you're Karthik's manager. It's a part of the job.
Right. So finally, this is loaded. I don't I really need to. So it is slightly ironic that Google develops Chrome, which has an inbuilt inspector called Lighthouse, which will help you profile your websites. And one of the worst websites that I have ever seen is developer.android.com. It took what, 10 minutes to load. Granted that I had to cancel it midway because it was stuck, but still it took 10 minutes to load. So someone is I don't know. Anyways, so
that might just be you. I just opened it here and it loaded in 5 seconds.
Right, I'm sharing my screen, so maybe that. So I don't know if you I hope you didn't miss that, but you see there is a small bar, green colored bar on the top of the website when I switch something, when I switch to switch to a different page. Now that is very common in I think a lot of web apps have now adopted it. Whenever there is something to load, they will either have a slow progress bar, like from 0 to 100, or they'll just have a loading animation across the top screen. Right. I hope everyone can see that loading animation. And I personally think that is a good way. That is better alternative than the thing that they suggested. Now, one more tip, quote unquote tip, is that don't be afraid to both inspect code. Like, for example, this is excellent. This is something that you like. This is something that you would want to emulate in maybe your website, maybe somewhere else. So don't be afraid to just open the document inspector with Control-Shift-I. This is one of the huge. I know you. Okay, right. You cannot see the document inspector.
Yes.
Let me share a window. Share a window. Right. So open the document inspector, and now it is easier with some things. It is easier with static things like buttons and all. But even with this, I think it should be somewhere near the top of the site. So there should be a progress. Yes, there's site dash progress, and let us see what happens when I toggle. Okay, so now you saw that something changed. I'll do it again. You'll see something changed. Now, one of the benefits of the web is that everything is HTML. Like HTML is very, very easy to debug, to hijack. So you can simply right click and say break on subtree modification. That means whenever this element changes, anything in this element children changes, it will pause the whole site and allow me to see what has changed. Right. So this is what that looks like. Um, this is allowing me to see what is happening with the element as it happens. And now this is slightly more advanced. This is slightly more advanced than you would normally use day to day. But this is a good trick to know when, especially when you want to copy something. Now, fortunately for us, this is the same progress bar as Material UI. You could go through all the JavaScript and you could go through step by step and see what is happening, how the progress bar is made, how the progress bar is actually functioning. But fortunately for us, this is Material UI is open source, so I can say Material UI loading indicator, and it will show me the web page. For again, this is the documentation page. Read the documentation. Yes, this is the loading bar. This is what this looks like here. Right, you can get rid of that. And we can see that both of them are mostly the same, right? So we notice that this is because this is the Google Android is a Google product, and Android uses Material UI. So the web page also uses Material UI. So you see that the progress bar is quite similar. Now, since this is part of the Material UI suite, and Material UI is also open source, GitHub. Since that is also open source, it means that you can simply go to this page and look at this. See, this is the power of open source. You wanted to do something. You liked the progress bar from Material UI. You want to implement that in either your own website, your own personal website, or you want to implement it in some other website. Because the code is open source, because you can learn from others, you can learn from how Google, which is one of the largest software companies right now, is how they work with, how they do the code, and learn from that. And I would say that is more important, that is better, that is a bigger advantage of open source and everything else put together. The fact that you can learn from other code is more important than the free software and the GitHub stars and the t-shirts and swag. But yes, so let us go to the docs.
I disagree with you. Nothing is more important than free swag.
Oh yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Srikaran is on a quest to stop buying clothes and fully use swag to clothe himself. I do not know how successful that will be, given that most companies do not. I do not know of any companies that have jeans as swag.
Or lowers for that matter.
No, I think some of them have slacks.
Upright, I know for a fact that Upright does have joggers. But yes, I mean, we'll get Omlila swag either way. we'll have Omlila snake jeans.
For those of you in the chat who would like to help Srikaran out, please post free swag opportunities.
Yes.
Srikaran will reply to we'll send a t-shirt. We'll send a power bank to every one of you.
Or a mask, or both.
If I could exchange all the power banks and masks I have for $1, I'd be a millionaire by now.
That is a bit of a stretch, but yes.
A tiny bit of a stretch, yes, but not by much.
Yes. So here we can see that this is the progress bar. This is what we would like to essentially copy into the website, into the MDN page. Now you could go and look at the component, look at the source code, see, okay, this is called linear progress. You could copy this, search for linear progress, scroll down, see where it is defined. So yes, this looks like where it is defined. Yes, and then see, okay, this uses multi MUI linear progress, and then you search for uh, MUI linear progress, and you see if you can find it.
Arthik, before we do this, since we are looking at a library like Material UI, right? Should we better check if it's actually being used in Indian? Because if it's not, then introducing a whole library just for a uh, loader is a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
Oh, I really, really would love to go into that discussion right now about when you should add dependencies, when you should not add dependencies. Uh, so, at a previous internship, one of one of my managers, he was very, very, very vocal about this. Very vocal about this. He used to be like, nothing would send him in a rage faster than someone suggesting to add a dependency to fix a problem. I mean, granted, I understand where he's coming from. Like for a lot of people, I don't know if you're aware, but there was a huge scandal with LeftPad. LeftPad was an npm package, and I
Yep.
understand where he's coming from. But yes, please do not add repository, do not add dependencies just to fix one issue just because it is easier. And no, Jer, no, that is the point. I do if I just wanted to add the library, I would have stopped here. I could have copied this code, taken this code and gone to finish setting up Yari and then just add the repository, add the dependency. But that is again, that is the beauty of open source. You can simply copy the parts you need instead of the entire dependency. So I'm sure that this is a CSS. It's either a CSS animation or most likely a transition, and maybe it'll be maybe 5 or 7 lines of code. We do not need the entire heavy, huge library to use this. We just need the I just want to see how the transition was done. So so that is what I'm going to. I can either look at the library itself. I can go through the entire library. I can see this is imported from MUI material linear progress. So I go back to the repository. I say there should be a linear. I can go to file, linear progress. Uh, Here it is, and this exports from. So it is a long process. It's definitely doable, and this is what you will have to do for a lot of libraries, a lot of especially if they are not on the web. But because we are on the web, because it's a JavaScript library, there is a shortcut. You can simply do Control Shift C, which will bring up the pick element menu. You can click on the element, and then you can see what they are doing. You can directly reverse engineer what they are doing. And reverse engineering is not necessarily bad. It now, for here, for instance, it saved me like 15 minutes of clicking around GitHub repository, trying to find the exact place where they have coded this out. I can simply go to this you know page. I can go to the actual implementation where they were nice enough to show a demo, and I can simply go see what they have done. Okay, so here I see that they are using CSS to style the span, and then I can see one span is moving. I can see the other one is also moving. We might not need the other one. I think that is for a dashed effect. But here, so this is what I was mentioning. There is a transition and there is an animation. So the transition and animation together are working to actually emulate this effect. And because this is HTML CSS, I can simply copy the relevant parts and not bother about anything else. So
That is definitely one way to do things. Uh, just picking out the stuff that you need from a library rather than introducing another dependency. But I personally really like the approach where you create enough dependencies and you create enough technical debt until it becomes unbearable for you, and then you leave the company. That is its job.
I genuinely thought Shikran was giving good advice.
He had us in the first half, man. He had us.
Yes, definitely. Right. This is exactly. I mean, anyways, yes. So one second.
Okay, there you go. I've renamed myself now.
Sorry, what?
I've renamed myself so you're more clear about my role in this stream.
Okay, great, nice. Shrikaran troll. Hey, troll isn't. Troll was the cute little small character, no? It was a Disney movie or something. Oh, wow, no, he's
I
even
am not
fit.
entirely sure.
Right. Sorry. Yes. I'm back. Yes. So ignore what Shikran was saying. Please don't do that ever. But yes, so since this is HTML CSS, and because we know the library itself is open source, that is very, very important. Ensure that you are allowed to copy this. Like the technically correct way would be to go through this and actually copy it from the repository itself. But this is fine because since the repository is open source, anything that is built with the repository, you can copy that. Yes. So great. So here we are using a shortcut to avoid having to do everything again, to avoid having to okay, avoid having to search the repository. So let us see. Yes. So now another good advice, good piece of advice. Now, not in production. Please do not do this in code, but in the if you have an HTML tree, if you want to figure out what things do, the simplest way is to just delete them and then see what happens. So here I can see that after deleting one span, nothing is changing.
Oh,
So thus I conclude that that was not important to its functionality. So now I can, if I delete the second one, I see that this is broken, which means that was probably important to its functionality. So I will have to bring that back. A control Z is your friend. So now that I know that I have eliminated one span, like I have reduced the complexity, I do not need to worry about another span. Now I can worry about the classes. Now let us start removing classes one by one. Let us see what happens. Okay, so this was not important. Okay, this was also not important. And this was also not important. Great. This was important. So now I know that I only need these styles and I only need, let us quickly do this again. Yes. So this still seems to function properly. I might need the div. Yes, I might need the div as well. So great. So now I know that I only need 3 classes and the rest, everything should work. So let me, now that we have the actual, okay, another tip, you can copy HTML, like if you, simply copy HTML, you copy it as text. Now that we know what exactly we are what exactly we are going to code, I'll close the unnecessary tabs. We can go back to Gitpod. And I hope that is done by now. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, it's been over 30 minutes. Let's hope it doesn't take more than that.
Yes. Yes, great. Yes. So we can see, yes, this is done. Ignore the warnings. I'm sure it is fine.
Not the best tip, but yeah, let's.
Yes. So, I mean, if see, this is the master branch. So, if you are unable to set, okay, another very important tip. If you are unable to set up the master branch, then please, contact the developers. You might be doing something wrong, or you might have found a bug. You might have found an issue. Either way, contact the developers. They will want to know about this. So either they will update the README instructions to make them more clear, or or they will help you fix the bug.
And
Great.
that way you will create another PR too.
Yes, that is, yes, but please do not, please don't treat open source as a competition. It is not a competition about who has the most PRs or who has the most contributions, who has a longer streak, whose GitHub contributions look, is more green. But the goal is to build good software, help developers who are building critical software, and maybe in the future, you have your own open source repository. So the goal of open source is to share the knowledge. It is to share the software, knowledge of software, to share the software itself. So please don't treat it as a competition. There are no winners, there are no losers. And yes, that with that out of the way, let us get back to Gitpod. So if you remember, previously on this stream, we finished here. We did yarn install, and which took us around 45 minutes, which is great. Then this says echo content root. Right. So this is telling us that you will have to replace this path. Again, read the instructions are very important. Replace this path and run this command. So for in my case, the folder will be /workspace /content /files, and I will have to echo this. Content root is equal to .env. Now this should be good. Now they say I can run yarn dev and then open localhost 3000. So while this builds, which is another excuse for you to go get distracted by YouTube or Twitter or distraction of choice. Let us see. Right. So let us ignore this warning as well. I'm sure it is fine. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, man.
Um,
That should be a T-shirt. Ignore the warning.
no, I think that is already a T-shirt. What could possibly go wrong? So let me see.
Only in software development do you ignore the warnings.
Yes.
I mean, like completely. I don't. At points, my eyes stop even registering warnings.
Oh.
I see them as blank spaces.
Okay. So for those of you who are interested,
okay, now that
there
you're
is.
yeah, go
No,
ahead.
no, it's not that important. There is actually a store that has a series of T-shirts about what could possibly go wrong if you're interested in buying. So there is that. Please continue.
It's against Sri Karan's motto of free swags, but no matter. Yeah, so what I was saying, okay, yeah, we are starting the dev build, and I think by the time we can go over the CSS and look into that side, yeah.
Right. So I think the dev build is working. Yes, the dev build is indeed working. Let me make it public so all of you can also visit the site. Let me might. Okay, now I'm lost. Where is? Yes, wait, and make it public.
It was 3,000, I think.
Oh, 3,000. Okay, 3,000. I'll log this.
Yeah, let's make both public.
No, it was 5,000. Don't confuse me. So I'll paste that in the chat. Please let me know if you're able to access it. You should be able to view the server itself.
I can. Let me share this in the YouTube chat. Okay. Shrikaran or Dheeraj, you can maybe share this.
Yes. So you will notice that as you visit as you visit articles, it'll build them on the fly, it'll build them dynamically. So that is one of the features of the stack of Yari, that what they have set up. This also means I'll get all of your IPs, so that is compromised. I mean, Google already has them, so I don't know if that is as important, but yes. So now that is running, now that we have the server running, yes, I think it is a good time to get the CSS straight. Let me isolate these two into a separate tab. We'll have to switch back and forth very often.
Yeah, just maybe share one application.
Yes. Give me 1 second. The
And technically, when we saw what we saw in the issue, right? Yeah, let Karthik share the screen.
yes. So let
Yeah,
me
I was just
open.
pointing.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just pointing out. If you check the issue back again, the person who shared a code box of presenting presenting a solution, how it should adding the loading text on the side of the link itself.
Yes.
Technically, he is kind of a contributor contributing his ideas. Maybe he might not be added to the contributors list in the GitHub repo, but he is in some ways. Oh, he's already a past contributor. Never mind. But yeah.
Right. So just because you do not contribute code doesn't mean that you are a contributor. You're not a contributor, rather. But yes.
Okay, so we have the dev server running. Everyone can access that. So as soon as Karthik breaks it, we'll know. Karthik, you're on mute right now.
Oh, right. I was wondering why no one was answering. So, yes. So now that we have the issue, let us refer back to the issue. To put in words, okay. Great. Needs to be quoted with this. I get it from the custom link. Right. So from what I could gather from this, that every time the document is switched, every time you navigate to a different path, a function called fetch document is used, and it's called, and that and what we can do in that fetch document function is make this progress bar visible. So let us get rough idea of what we are going to do before we start. Always remember, 10 minutes of planning will save you, I would say, rather half an hour of bashing your head against something that doesn't work. So always spend time to at least get to know what you are doing. Great. So now that, okay, so first order of business, if you want, we can create a to-do list. Let's do that, in fact. True. So what is the first step? First step is that we want to add progress bar to page. Right, we want to show that is the first order of business. We want to add the progress bar to the page. Second, hide the bar by default. Right, and then show the bar when in fetch document. When fetch document is called. And fourth, hide the bar when document is loaded. I think that is a good uh, overview. These are good steps to follow. Now, back to the quick start. The quick start is over, which means we are up and running, which is true. We have the web docs right here. We have the server. We have our CSS that we have to copy, and we have the issue that we have to reference. Now, let us quickly start copying the CSS. First, we'll have to find the style sheet that we need to reference. So again, we refer to our friend, the developer tools. Let us go to technologies, let us say JavaScript, and we want to add the bar here. We want to add the bar into this page. So let us see what is a good place to add. Again, don't be afraid to use make changes in the developer tools. It is often much faster to test out, especially UI changes. The CSS panel is the styles panel is excellent for change for tweaking, for making small UI changes quickly and seeing the results immediately, rather than making the change in the code and then rebuilding the site. This is faster.
Definitely.
So yes. So let us see. So this header seems like a good place to add the progress bar, and this is the header element, and there are already some components. So let us try to look for this header inside the repository. Let us search for the code, search for header, and there are lots of results, which is not good. So let us search for the HTML tag header, and this is better. Now we can see um, this is table of contents, and this is what we want. Does not look like what we want. Yes, this is what we want. This is the page header. So again, remember, it is don't be afraid to directly, especially again, that is why I like the web so much. I like web development, where you can start working with a page as soon as possible. Like, you don't have to go through, you don't have to search the code. So to recap, all we did is I saw that this is a header element. I know from experience that header elements are not very common. They're not very commonly used in a page. Unlike a div or a paragraph or an anchor tag, they're not very common. So I could simply search for the header tag inside the repository, and that led me right to the place where where we can make changes. Now, since it is already 1 hour and 40 minutes into the talk, and we haven't yet made any visual changes, I will not bother with proper, quote unquote, proper code placement. Like, I'll not create. It can be argued that it is better to create a component and so that it can be reused, but I will ignore that for now, for the sake of time, and I will just very quickly show you that if I put in a div, and say type in something, testing 1 2 3, and save, and then reload the site here, I should be able to see the testing 1 2 3 if this was picked up the change, and let us see how that works. Yes, you see that, okay, it was there for a second, then it vanished. Uh, Now that is slightly disturbing.
Something else seems to be overriding it. While it's visible while that other component loads, but right, it gets
Right.
hidden by it.
So, was it a search? Huh. Okay, now this is something I did not anticipate. Uh,
That's weird.
right.
The tagline of every programmer. That's weird.
Yeah. Yes. This does not look good. I will have to set a breakpoint. Let's see what happens. Break on susceptible modifications. Great. And because this is React, I cannot break on subject modifications. This is the logo. This is the page header. This is the logo. This is. I might be editing the wrong header. We do have a logo here, and we do have search. You have search. So
Maybe can you go ahead and change something in the logo? Oh yeah, on component.
yes, okay. Let me try to comment out logo. Let's see what happens.
Okay, yeah.
Is the font size okay? By the way, should I increase the font size?
Yeah, no, it works.
Okay. Good.
Also, love how this encapsulates the spirit of open source and coding perfectly. This was supposed to
Yes.
be a 1 hour stream.
Yes.
The most important lesson for you is nothing will go the way that you planned.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, it will go exactly in the opposite way that you plan. So this is also encapsulated into Murphy's law, which says that anything that can go wrong will go wrong.
And now Karthik cannot figure out what's happening. Can we check the first file?
This is the first
Yes,
time.
Yes.
it might be that the header is, but is there another header? Is there another header? There is another header. Okay. And this is the right one. So I have no idea what is happening here.
This is the table of content one.
I mean, this should not be happening. If I remove the logo magically appears. It's not good, to the least. Okay.
I feel like the downtick in views on YouTube is a timeline. It's a timer for us. There's 8 watching now. When it gets to 0, they'll kick us out of the stream.
Right.
But don't worry, I have it open, so it'll never hit 0.
So always preload search by client. This is fine. This is login. What happens if I comment out? Okay, another pro tip. When you do not know what is happening, start deleting things. See what breaks.
Do Control A backspace.
Okay, not Control A, but yes. So what did I delete? Okay, right. Actually, better is commenting out. You know what you have deleted. So you have this button. Now let us see what happens. Put 5,000 and a half. Excellent.
Something, bro.
No. So the proxy was restarted. So. So this is being replaced by something. Now, what could possibly be replacing this?
Can we check the reference? I'm not sure if this works in VS Code or not, but it works in VS. We can check the references of the header function. Go to where the header was defined. Right click, go to. Yep. So here it was used. Yeah, this should give us some idea. Header. Yeah.
Great. What happens if I add something here? Testing.
Karthik Soneji was here.
Page. This page. Sure. Let's see if that has an effect.
Mm.
Mhm.
Nope.
No. Can you see it? Yes. It okay. So all of this is flashing, which means is it loading something from? Doesn't look like it.
My question is, why does it have HTML for us to edit, but also something else that is generating the HTML and replacing it?
Exactly. Okay.
If there was either
So
one, that would make sense.
Is it
No?
actually, I think
A11?
their actual
Mhm.
markdown, sorry, their documentation is in MDX or MD, uh, whereas all this is in HTML, React, basically,
Okay.
as far as I understand this.
I mean, this is a cache issue.
Okay, then throw some money at it.
Yes.
God. श्रीकरण अपने नेम का सही
He's
Yes,
yes,
he's
he's living
living
up
up
to
to
his name.
living up to his name. Yes.
not living up to my name, living up to my eponym, I believe it's called.
Right. So while this builds, I'll go get a refill of water.
He says he says it's water, but it's actually magic juice.
He'll come back with a nice solution, hopefully.
Yes, that's called water.
Or the holy water.
Right.
No,
I'm
no,
back.
but water isn't a solution; it's a solvent.
No,
But no, I
technically
think
water.
an argument.
Uh,
Yes, I think an argument can be made that the presence of minerals in the water makes it a
yes, they
solution.
are a yes. So water that you drink is a solution.
Yes, distilled water is a solvent.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
No, he said Jay was saying Karthik is going to go and come back with a solution.
Oh. Ah. Technicalities.
All this
This
time I was
episode with
thinking.
dad jokes with Srikaran.
All this time I was thinking, how? When did we transition from water to solvent and solution?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Ah. Okay. This
Oh,
is
it's working
development.
right now.
Yes. Yes. Welcome to development.
What?
It was a cache issue. It was a cache issue. It was stale build files. So, moral of the
Everyone
Did you
needs
story.
open
cash.
GPay?
Sorry.
Did you GPay something quickly when you went to get water?
No. So, moral of the story: there are only two difficult things in computer science: naming and caching.
And Karthik. Make that three difficult things.
Right. So, great.
6 watching.
Okay.
We have.
Oh, we have six
I
people
feel like.
watching.
No, I feel like that is me, Jay, and the rest of the moderators.
Ah, great. This is what I was afraid of.
If someone can hear, whoever can hear me on stream right now, just type in a hi, type in some message. We want to know who's still watching.
Great. So for the six people watching, let us finish hopefully. So I think I had a div. Yes, so let me remove that. Let this be a lesson that yes, not everything goes as you plan. And I should have probably gone through this before. Okay, let us uncomment this. And now,
Yes, Sonal and Dheeraj, you don't need to put messages in the chat. We know you're here. It's your job to be here.
yes, you do not count. Sorry. And great. So caching is quite broken. Yes, it is quite broken. Good to know. Cannot trust the cache.
So let's just
Is the 3000
maybe
port better? Mm-hmm. I think the 3000 port is better. Yes, the 3000 port is better. So you were right. 3000 is the one that you should use, and forget 5000. Yes, if you all can just switch for the 4 people hopefully watching. Right. Let us delete this and then start copying. So Jay and Shekharan have abandoned me. Now it is just the chat, 2 people in chat and me. Great. So yes, let us go to CSS. Let us copy this. The CSS we need. So let me call it something called progress bar. Div. Let me give it an ID of what do I call it? Maybe progress bar, and I need 2 spans. Can I make it work with 1 span? I think I should be able to make it work with maybe 1 span. So span, and then load is equal to progress bar because accessibility is important. Another span, and that doesn't need anything. Wait. So let me start copying these styles. There should be a CSS file somewhere. Yes, there is. So CSS, great. Now in the CSS file, it is added near the header styles. So where is page header? Yes, here is page header. And then this is inside page header. So this should go inside the page header. And it's called progress bar. And
okay. So now we're in the stage of adding CSS. Nice.
yes. Oh, thank God you're back. Yes.
This is a testament to how long this went. My earphones battery died out.
Yes, this is more of a testament to the quality of your earphones.
No. The battery which I keep my earphones at, never more than 30%.
Right. So
Okay.
width will be 100%, and let's see how it looks right now. Okay. 58.6. Line number 58. And is this again a cache issue? Please tell me it is a cache issue. Wait. So what did we learn? When you have an error, it is you refresh it, and it goes away.
Magic. Karthik's magic.
Okay, now we have the progress bar. seems like the header has some padding. Yes, the header has some padding. So we want to make it stick to the top of the page. So it might be beneficial to move it, to make it floating, to make it the position absolute.
Yeah, and
So,
top
so
zero.
this is what I was mentioning. It is easier and faster to just edit the styles inline. So position absolute. I think fixed is better actually. So it is always
Yeah,
on top, right?
and top
And
equals to
that,
zero, right? Or
I
this
think
should
that is
just go.
implied.
Okay.
So just to be sure, let me give this a border of 1 pixel solid black. Is that seen? No, it is not. Width of 100%. Also not seen. Wait. Um,
Okay. Is that
so,
the one line above?
huh.
Yeah. Okay. Why is it? Okay. Is it because of z index?
Yeah, might be because of Z index. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What Z index?
Uh, Sorry, what? Z
Z
index, z
index.
index. What?
One. These work. Yes. Thank God. So we need Z index 1. And is there padding on this? I think there is padding on this. So it might be better to put it outside the header itself.
No, can't we
Yeah.
just say top zero and that should stick this up? Oh, okay,
Huh,
starting
but
on the use.
I mean, there is,
You mean
yes,
like
we can do that. We can do top zero and then left zero, but then I don't see the point in forcing that and then making it like why at that point why is it even in the header,
got it.
right? I mean, see, this is the kind of discussion that you will have with the project developers. It's good to have this discussion. Please don't be discouraged if they ask you to change anything, um, because this is how software development works. You suggest something, they suggest something. For now, let me leave it. Yes, I think it is better to leave it as it is. Um,
I
because
think
I do not
we
know where the
just
header. Mhm, right?
mm, for now we can
So
do a quick fix and the
yes.
maintainer can then shout at you afterwards when the stream ends that this is bad coding.
Yes. Um, I think I had that open, right, where the header was used.
You can just use the reference again. No?
Mhm. Okay, go to references and show me here.
Yeah.
And yes. So maybe it is an idea that should go here, but yes, it's simple enough to copy paste. Right now, it is more important to get something more. Like the 2 hours have gone by, so I don't know how many people are still in the stream.
7.
7. Great. Um, Now we can copy this. Um, Paste it into index.scss. Oh, and if you ever do something like this, if you copy from another library, be upfront about it, right? Open source is built on using code from other places, from other libraries. So be upfront about it. Let them know that you have taken the code from where you have taken the code, and if it is a significant chunk, then you might even want to comment the source, the actual source. For now, it is fine. I would say it is not that important because um, it is small enough that it doesn't matter as much. But still, it depends.
I just
Um,
got back from a call. I assume you're talking about integrating open source code into code that you're working on at your workplace, right?
No. I was talking about now. See, even though
Not
both
just
MD and
workplace.
yes.
Oh,
Like
right. Giving credits. Huh.
Yes. Yes, not just credits, but since both, even though both of them are open source projects, and even though you can, freely, you are technically allowed to freely copy code between them without giving credits, it is always better to mention that you have, taken this code. From where have you taken this code? Maybe definitely in the issue. Definitely mention that in the issue. Maybe mention that in the add a comment here as well, like something like code taken from uh, github.com/miui, and then link the exact file and the exact line that you have taken the
I
code
think it's
from.
MUI, just MUI.
Yes, whatever. Like link the exact commit,
And
essentially the formally.
written under the supervision of Jay Diwani and Srikanth Srinath.
Right.
Written with comic relief provided by Jay Diwani and Srikanth Srinath.
Yes, and also with 7 people watching, of which 2 people have to,
6 people
and
now.
5 people are willing to.
3
I think
people
one
have
of you.
to. No, 4 people have to. Me, Jay, and 2 other people. Me, Jay.
No, I'm only counting the people in stream.
Oh yes, that's 6. 6 people total.
Yes, out of which
4 are 2 of us and 2 mods. 2 people probably walked away from their PC without closing the tab.
This is going excellent.
Wonderfully. Yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
so I need to add a class here. Let us call it. What do we call it?
12A.
Progress bar wrap. I mean wrapper. And
Mr. Chabra. There is a Mr. Chabra that is still watching the stream. Shout out to Mr. Chabra.
please reply if you are actually present. You would greatly
No,
appreciate.
they just wrote a comment on the stream.
Oh, okay. I thank you for sticking around.
Still, their comment was still waiting for it to work.
Okay. Yes,
we
I
will
there are
get
4
this.
people watching now. There are 4 people watching now.
okay. Dheeraj just got fed up. He's like, I don't need this
Bye,
job.
Dheeraj, you will be missed. There is another Sairam. Welcome, Sairam. Welcome to this desolate land where there exists no happiness. Only Karthik.
Oh, right. This is class name. Wait, what?
Karthik caught that just now.
Progress
Oh,
bar.
people are joining and thinking it's a new stream apparently.
When you have gone, people forget what the stream was about. Oh, okay, this is great. So progress bar. Naming is hard.
Yeah, as Karthik has said a number of times, naming and caching, the 2 ultimate problems of computer science.
And only one of them is solvable. And it is not naming.
Sairam, yes, you're confused. What's your question? Ask.
Now I need to copy the animation.
I think there should be an option to just right click and copy the CSS properties on the span.
Yes, but that will copy everything. I don't care about body and all these inherited tags, and I do care about the keyframes.
What would be the worst thing to hear right as you're going under anesthesia before heart surgery?
Is that something someone put in the comments?
No, 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 no.
Oh, okay, then it's just you being you.
Yes.
I was
What would be
listening.
the worst thing?
I mean, maybe the doctor googling, how to perform heart surgery.
No.
What?
Someone
To
read the
come
manual.
out.
What's next?
Sorry, what?
Um,
Someone read the manual. What comes next?
I'm. Do you understand what he's saying?
Are you
No.
not able to hear me?
Yeah, I can, but I'm not able to understand
Vivaran,
what
as I have often
joke.
mentioned before, we
I can
understand
hear the
the
words coming out of
words.
your mouth.
Yes, we understand. We understand them in isolation. We do not understand them when you put them in that order.
Someone read the manual and tell me what comes next.
Okay. Got it. So this is what the doctor is thinking, basically.
Yes. Sairam asks a question. I'm following from the beginning. I'm a beginner. I thought of participating in Hacktoberfest 2021.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
tell
You
me
are from
what
the.
all? Can you tell me
No,
what all we exactly need to do in it?
forget that. If he's following from the beginning, first of all, don't you have anything else to do? I mean, I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong.
What is this?
Don't.
You don't
But
don't bring your inner self out here.
yes, yes, your personality is leaking.
Uh, right. So,
But no, if you're following
By the
from the
time,
beginning, we already spoke about Hacktoberfest.
I mean,
But
by the
yes,
time,
Google Hacktoberfest 2021. There'll be a website that is something along the lines of
uh,
hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com, and that will have all of the instructions for you.
yes.
Hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. Yes.
and
Now,
if
let me
that is not
see.
enough, there's a whole Discord server for Oktoberfest, and I think yeah, people can definitely help you out there.
What we need is a Discord server for free swag.
I will
Shrikaran is
not be
about to create
shocked
that.
if, yes, I was just going to say Shrikant creates that.
Nah, I won't share this swag with anybody. Uh,
0 1600, is that true? It's a 0 1600. Why
I
is
am
the
happy
60?
finding the solution. I'm happy finding the solution and writing it in my personal diary rather than implementing it in the real repository.
I mean, if you have gone through all the trouble of,
Might as well.
yes.
Yes.
All right. I think it is yarn.
I mean, till the time Karthik does this, I think we can talk about Oktoberfest, Shrikaran, and
Sorry?
maybe answer. By the time Karthik does all these laborious tasks,
Of
we
copying
can.
pasting the CSS.
Yes. I think we can talk about Hacktoberfest and maybe answer Sairam as we are free already.
Sure, I guess. So
I mean, at
basically,
this point, anything goes.
Hacktoberfest is basically a program that is aimed at bringing more developers into the open source community by incentivizing people with swag.
I think the
But
correct term is bribing.
incentivizing.
Right.
The politically correct term is incentivizing.
Right.
Depends on how you say
Right.
this.
So basically, you join the program. You go to hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com. Sign-ups will start, I think, on October 1st. You sign up for the program, and then you need to make 4 valid pull requests to repositories that are participating in Hacktoberfest. They'll have a label called Hacktoberfest, so it's easy to search for them. You find these repositories, you find the issues that they have, and then you submit a pull request to them. And if you submit 4 valid pull requests, they have the terms and conditions. They have the conditions required for a pull request to be valid on the website itself. If you submit 4 valid pull requests, they'll send you a T-shirt and some stickers.
And yep, that's it.
There are
And
actually some other
And
organizations
format
that
and
offer their own Hacktoberfest separate swags, which you can find on
Yeah.
hacktoberfestswaglist.com.
Yes, yes, yes.
Again,
Yeah.
a lot of them require some nice code contributions to actually send you something.
Not all. Like I remember Devfolio had some React projects last year, and
Hmm.
all you needed was maybe 2, 3 PRs to get it
Oh
Devfolio
yes, yes,
T-shirt.
yes.
Yeah, and those are very easy, like very not a very high level projects. Like one of them was OTP UI, one of them was a UI to copy email, because usually all the email, whenever you click a email URL, it opens Gmail or whatever your default email is, and prompts you to write the email. But most of the times, people want to copy the email, not send the email. Send an email to that email address. So that was one. Those are very pretty simple um, projects, and yeah.
This year's Oktoberfest logo actually looks really nice. I'm excited to see what it looks like on a T-shirt.
Yeah. And before you actually do go ahead and start contributing to Hacktoberfest 2021, uh, it's 2021, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 2021. Yes. I don't know where my head is. Uh, do go ahead and read about the fiasco of 2020 if you haven't already.
Yes, please make valid pull
Ju-
request. Please don't change one full stop and call it a pull request. That just creates trouble for the maintainers of the project.
And
I
also,
mean,
please do not have one PR to fix a typo, one PR to introduce another typo, and a third PR to fix the typo that you introduced. Yes. So
Karthik giving
ignoring
out
the colors.
ideas.
No, this is what people have actually done. I do not need to give them ideas.
Uh,
Okay, something has gone wrong, I think. All right, we have to add the
top absolute peg
yes,
position. Yes.
position fix, position fix, top 0, left 0. Now let us reload. And nothing happens. Great.
Wait,
Why does nothing happen?
sure something happened, because we haven't added any link to fetch document. Basically, mentioning if fetch document is being called, it should appear then disappear.
Right, but it should still appear right now because nothing else is visible, right? So, like we haven't hidden this, it should still appear.
Okay. Are we
So maybe it
sure
is
there's no?
constant. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, maybe we can add some padding and see a border and see where it is exactly.
See, it is here. Maybe we need. Wait, what did I call it? Progress bar internal. And yes, the class is here. The class is not appearing. Okay, this is
Yeah, we
yeah,
just
page looks
crossed
progress
2 hours.
bar.
We're about to hit 2 hours 15 minutes.
Yes.
Uh,
I
there's
think now
a
it's time to fake a technical difficulty to get out of this. Power cut ho gaya, I
Uh,
kid.
right.
I think there's a closing bracket missing somewhere.
Yes.
Oh no. The syntax is fine. Otherwise, React would have complained. Uh, so either the styles are not applying, which doesn't appear to be.
Vinayak is back. Welcome back, Vinayak. Even with Vinayak, only 4 people are watching, which is sad.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, the second worst thing to hear when right as you're about to go into heart surgery, here goes nothing.
Yes.
Is there some website, a best heart surgery
It's
jokes or
Reddit.
something?
It's Reddit.
Uh, What's the subreddit?
The third worst is I hate this job.
At this point, we have given up all pretense of having a talk, and we are just
Reading
having
out
fun
Reddit
right
jokes
now.
on stream.
Yes.
Yes.
Just make it a React video already, man.
Next is get his pants off.
One of them could be, his kidneys will fetch a lot of money.
What do you mean the YouTube tutorial is buffering?
So I sincerely apologize to everyone watching.
Oh, Karthik, I got a perfect response from you.
Yes.
Perfect response for you. What could
Yes,
possibly
yes.
go wrong?
Yes. Sure.
Should we stop and restart the server?
Yes, that is what I did. I am rebuilding the files.
Okay. Oh.
All right, let's hope this is like last time. This thread is gold.
Which subreddit is this?
This is Ask Reddit.
Okay, the biggest.
Dheeraj, please don't kick me off of the stream.
Come on, Karthik.
Please tell me it worked.
Or we can pick a different issue which I showed you earlier. Our backup issue.
Let's start from the beginning. And
Okay.
submit a pull request with one.
This
full
is
stop.
what happens. This is what happens when you have been coding for 2 hours. I mean,
This is a
usually it
perfect
happens.
example of why you shouldn't do open source. You will waste 2 hours and not realize where it went.
Loading.
How
here.
to start? Rename the stream. How to start with open source contributions now? Why you shouldn't ever get into open source.
Oh, great! Yes.
Oh, wow. Just when Karthik was taking shots at, just when Srikaran was taking shots at.
Yes.
Nice.
So let us copy
There's another
this
one.
file.
There's another one. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. I see nobody got that reference.
Yes, no one will get that reference.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. It's
Okay, that part I understood.
it's a very famous movie dialogue.
If you say so.
Have you watched the Princess Bride?
No.
It has a lot of Blackadder vibes. Definitely recommend watching.
Okay, so now this has gone from a stream from people reading Ask Reddit to movie recommendations.
Yes.
I'm so proud of this talk. Definitely going on my LinkedIn. I mean, to be fair, most people won't reach this point, so
That
doesn't matter. Right. Now that we have successfully established this, let us go back and check what to do.
The next few steps should be a bit easier.
Yes. So by default, let us see if there is a class called hide.
At what point do we decide that this stream is a disaster and just give up?
I mean, when the PR gets closed by the organizer, the MD
maintainer.
So basically, when Dheeraj kicks us out.
No, I feel like that we crossed that point about an hour ago.
So good news is that there is a class called hide. Is there a class called show?
Even if there isn't a class called show, just having a random class name would um, do that for you, right?
Yes, yes. True. So, by default, it is hidden. Yes, that is the second point done. See, we're halfway through already. Now we search for fetch document.
That is the exact thing you don't want to hear when you're 2 hours and 20 minutes into a stream.
Yes.
Also, people, if you feel like leaving and not watching the stream, please put it on mute and navigate to another tab. It will help with the watch statistics.
Uh,
Uh,
please let there be a function called fetch document.
Wait, what are you doing?
Uh,
Clear grep fetch document?
Oh, so this is just
Please tell me
quick
you're
way to.
saying that on purpose.
Sorry, what?
Otherwise, I will need to write an email to Carl Zeiss, a strongly worded email.
Hey, no, I personally haven't seen grep. What is
grep.
It's
You
Grep.
have
Grep
never
is
seen
basically.
grep.
okay.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have seen grep.
the things I shouldn't have said. Never mind.
Okay,
I'll
grep
better
Everyone
is
search.
basically
I'll,
grep is
I'll,
grep is
I'll
regular
do a Google
expression
search.
term for the command line.
I'll do a Google search. What
The
Karthik and
RE,
Srikaran
I believe the RE in
means.
grep stands for regular expressions.
Now, where is the?
I prefer the search feature in VS Code, but never mind.
Global regular expression print.
Right. Wait, there isn't a function called fetch document.
Eh?
So,
Beautiful. So we're not yet halfway through.
uh,
No,
I
no, we
mean,
are, but the third point is as big as the first. The third point will take as much time as the first one did.
I really hope it doesn't.
Uh,
Uh,
but there should be,
Imagine
no?
searching. Imagine searching for the word document in a repository that's primarily JavaScript and TypeScript.
yes, I did find
Yeah.
something.
That is like searching for print within a Python file.
That is not working, and someone is trying to debug it, especially that. Therefore.
Okay, let us look for. Um,
I'm,
oh, okay.
I
Another
can't.
trick. The network tab is very helpful to find such functions. I do not know who I am talking to, apart from
I can't
Srikaran
wait.
and.
I can't wait. I can't wait for someone to pop into the stream and say, "Oh, this is going on." Uh,
I'm surprised someone has not already done that.
oh yes.
So, is there a network request? Strict mode. Um, see, etc. Resource. Uh, was fetch document removed?
Yeah, could be because this issue is from 2020, March 2020. It's been over a year, but um, that would be a big change in our plan.
No, because no. This is so. No, that is a wrong kind of link. Let us try go to the glossary and see what is there an index.json. So if I go to JavaScript and if I click on, let us say, um, let me search for document or create document, sure. And let me do one thing. Now, this is again not recommended, but just so that people do not die of boredom, let me just add an event listener here that will, show the uh, progress bar when the fetch event is when the browser tab navigates. So um, run event listener on document navigation. Now, slightly ironic. Uh,
If only I could clip YouTube videos. I think can. Oh, it's not in this video. Never mind.
right. So, an event, JavaScript page, uh, so page load event. Unload. Okay, so there's an unload event. Great. So let us try a use ref. Um, and document function. Great. So function show loader and const show is loader is progress bar visible set progress bar visible is equal to use ref. Initial value will be false and class name is equal
EA chat is active again. Mostly because some more moderators are coming in. I think Dheeraj and Sonal checking out of their shift. Next shift of moderators are coming in.
great. I apologize again. Uh,
But he does not mean it, trust me.
let us see. And now I will use hook. Um,
Who keeps getting that call? Jay or Karthik?
me. It's not a call. It is a 15-minute reminder that the stream is half an hour
It's
over
been
deadline.
15 minutes more. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We just did
So
2.5 hours. Nice.
right, great. Not Tuesday. So
I think Dheeraj is going to beat the shit out of me next time I mention Karthik Sonejikar.
yes, I don't think I'm ever invited to call again. Uh, on
You just
unload.
got a permanent ban from developer student community and all
I
of
mean
its affiliated enterprises.
that would be not good because I am already in a developer student community.
No, that is a developer student club.
Right, this is Google development student.
Yes.
Um,
Developer student community is independent.
reading this correctly, it is um, Before unload.
Is there something really like that?
On
I
before
mean, it
unload.
should be. See, there is a before unload. Okay. Um. All right. So this is a window thing, not a per event thing. Makes sense.
Also, this is the
So
last stream of developer days.
yes, that is why I felt comfortable extending it to this
Ah,
much.
ending on a
Uh,
sad note.
um, so set purpose file visible. True. Let us hope this works. I am getting an error. Uh, am I missing something? I think it is used. Right. Let us see if this works. Okay. Something is happening. Hey, it worked.
Oh,
Now I did it.
because you
Oh, it worked. It
have.
worked. It did. It did.
Okay, nice.
See?
Damn. Finally.
So
Dheeraj is like, it's like a 3-hour movie stream. Not the
uh,
movie stream you would want to watch on a Saturday night, but yeah.
so let us finally close these. Right. So let me leave the to-dos. We are done with this.
The three
So
shitty
yes.
musketeers.
Um, now that it is working, I feel confident enough to end the stream.
No, you have to make the pull request.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I'm not making a
We,
pull request.
we
Oh, you
have
are.
to see. We have to
Yes,
see
because
the
we don't
bad
see.
comments.
No, we don't know how to make a pull request, so you have to show us with this.
Right. No. So MDN, they require sign-offs with SSH private key, and it's a whole thing. So
Yeah, so
uh,
you just need to make a signed commit.
yes, but I will have to set up. I'll have to import my SSH keys for that.
Do it.
Not on stream.
No, you can stream this one tab and then get your SSH keys and put it here.
Right. So I'm making excuses if you can't tell.
Yes, I'm destroying your XTSS if you can't tell.
Right. So I'll make a comment. Just try get
A commit everyone
status.
can make. Pull request not everyone can make.
Uh, then you
Hey,
do git
you
commit.
don't have. You can create a PR, but that would be blocked because of bots and all, right? Via bots, but you can still create a PR, right?
Yes.
Let's just get to the process of creating PR and just maybe don't click on the create PR button.
No. We have to create the PR.
Okay, fair enough.
Best
Let
case
me.
scenario, we rub dirt in Karthik's open source emails.
The,
We
the,
drag
So,
it.
right.
the maintainers would
Not
ban
that,
Karthik from there as well.
not that anyone is watching, but at this point, I'm pretty sure I'm speaking to Srikaran and Jay.
And the
Um,
mods.
Yes, and the bots. Dheeraj has gone off to sleep.
No, Dheeraj is here.
Dheeraj is here? Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Yep.
Great. So I'm speaking to 5 people, including myself. Great.
Eight actually.
What? Oh,
8
yes.
people are watching. Although that might be one person watching from 2 tabs.
Right. So, yes, I am on my repository. I shall create a
Harsh is back.
commit. Let us say add loading animation to on
I feel like this is going to seamlessly transition into OTC today.
Sorry?
Oh, don't.
This might seamlessly transition into OTC tonight. So for
Hey,
those without
that is-
context, it's a community call that we attend that starts at 10:30, which is 2 hours away.
Oh, Hershey's here.
Yes. Or we can do
At
OTC
the
on
right
stream
moment.
tonight. But then
Neeraj
a lot
and
of us
Sonal
feel exposed.
questioning their choices.
Right. So,
Okay, yeah. So you have made a comment.
10 people watching. There are 10 people watching. Karthik, come on. This needs to give you renewed vigor.
right. So, yes.
This is your small blue pill. Come on, get going.
Yes. So great. Now that I have made a commit. I will now push the commit to a branch.
And then make
So
pull
git
request.
push. Let us
You cannot
say.
do.
Sorry.
You cannot do origin because I think the remote URL will be pointing to the actual. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. So you can. Another trick is that you can directly specify a complete repository URL here, and it will work.
Something new I learned.
Okay, so the stream was successful. Somebody learned something.
Yeah.
No.
I learned about GREP in this. Yeah. Right.
Oh god.
Yes. Add loading animation. Um,
You're in the main branch of local. Would that work if you would push it to a different branch name?
no. So I have to specify main because it
Yes.
is a new branch. Yes. And now GitHub is telling me again. Read the messages. Read the log output. GitHub is telling me that if I want to create a pull request, I just need to go to this link. Yes.
Pretty sweet.
Yes, and now, ordinarily you would fill this in with some info like fix ads, material, UI inspired, progress bar when links are clicked, um, CSS and
HTML.
HTML taken from MUI and let's see. Great. There should be linear indeterminate. Yes. Here and then fixes.
Closes.
To
Fixes. 4 and 2.
So out of curiosity, which keywords automatically close the issues and which don't?
Oh, GitHub has a whole support page dedicated to that. So if you click on, let us say, this one. Let me search for fixes. Yes. So fixes is not what it.
I think closes definitely is part of the set of words.
Closes
Issue number. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
so closes, closed, fixes. Okay, these are the ones. I was
Char
looking
bundle,
at
char
them.
million, char is odd.
Resolved.
That genuinely reads like Pokemon evolutions.
I was going to say this reads like past, present, future. The three
Oh
forms
yes,
of a verb.
English class.
It
Yes, English.
is past.
Yes. Great. So normally after doing all this, you would click on create pull request. I will not,
Click it,
because of
click it, click it,
the
click it.
reasons mentioned
Click, click,
before.
click, 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 click.
Click.
Shut
Come
up,
on,
please.
come on, chat. Chat OP. Type click.
So now we have moved on from reading Reddit jokes on stream to discussing movie advice, to chanting click.
See, we have three people. We have three messages that are asking you to click. Click, click,
No,
click,
seriously, I need to.
click, click. Entire chat is saying click. Come on.
Come on,
As I mentioned
Karthik.
before, it is.
Oh my
It
god.
is rude to create a PR without discussing it with the maintainers first.
It's okay. Do it for the stream.
No. So I will definitely make the PR. I will comment on the issue. I will ask them if like, this is my implementation. Do you have any comments? I will wait for that feedback, and then I'll create a PR.
No, you can create a PR and ask for that in the PR itself, right?
True. Then it is
Yes.
better to create
So
a draft
So
PR.
click. So click.
There
Click.
should
Click.
be a
Click.
draft.
Click. I don't think draft PRs are a thing in GitHub.
Yeah, it
Really?
is. Yeah, it
Yes,
is.
they are.
Draft PRs are. In the create pull request,
Oh, right.
click on the
There is a
down
yes, right here.
button.
Draft pull.
Draft.
Right.
Yes. So okay, then let me import
But
my
maintainer,
SSH
yeah,
here.
right.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen. Um, Now, how do you import?
Yeah, what is this? In YouTube, it saying started streaming 6 minutes ago.
Oh, that's because you opened the stream in 6 minutes. That doesn't update in live. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Khalid
I was
says
saying,
longest stream of developer days.
Kudos
Kudos to
to
the
the
speaker
speaker
panel for the
panel for all the
yes.
efforts
So
of reading
just so you
Reddit
know,
jokes.
yes. I mean, again, thank you for the compliment, but it was not planned this way. I was planning to finish it in at the most
half
2
the time.
hours. No, not half the time. Just 2 hours. Um, right.
Let's do it under 3. Okay, so since Karthik is not sharing his stream, I'm assuming he's adding his SSH
Yes,
keys,
I'm,
right?
I'm exporting my SSH keys and then importing them into.
Do that on the stream.
Right. course.
So for context, SSH keys are basically used to do a signed commit, whereas you are basically signing the commit as with your SSH keys, which are linked to your GitHub accounts, which certifies that this commit comes from you. Because technically, you can create a commit impersonating anyone, but that uh, won't be a signed commit. Am I right, Karthik? Right?
Yes. So even once you add an SSH key, it is not, unless you use the capital S flag, it won't. No, actually, I think it's the smallest flag. Unless you use that flag, it won't actually sign your commits for you. So yes.
Okay. And yeah, a lot of big repositories do require you to do this just so that you cannot fake or impersonate anyone. Because I have seen a lot of uh, security issues around this, where there were there were pull requests which got accepted without being reviewed uh, mm, very
Closely.
thoroughly because the committer seemed to be a very core committee. It seemed that it was someone who was in the core committee of that team. I have heard about this. I don't remember which repo this was, but yeah. So that's why nowadays big repositories require a signed commit.
So I'm almost done. Right. So just to show you the difference between a signed commit and an unsigned commit, if you can go to uh, yes. If you can go to this branch, uh, let me share my screen. Let me know when it is visible. Right, is it visible? Yes. So if you go, if you click on the commits, you will see this verified symbol, and there is no verified symbol here. Now, once I force push, so I will have to.
So have you amended your commit, or will you do that? You should do that
No,
on Camta. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, that will again ask me to like put in. It'll show me the. It'll show you the key armor ID. So it's just better not to show it on camera. So SSH key is a serious business because they allow people to commit as if almost any action regarding repositories they can do as if they were you. So if you do add an SSH key, be careful with it.
SSH keys are basically passwords, which
They
don't
are
even
more,
require. They're more than passwords, which don't even require. What do you call it?
a
Two-degree
username. No,
authentication.
username.
Yeah, username, passwords, your phone number. Usually, even if you have a password, you can be stopped via the second layer of authentication. But SSH keys like just direct portal into the
Yes.
account.
So the reason SSH keys are so powerful is because it is assumed that they are very like people are. It is assumed that people will keep them safe because they are so powerful, and it doesn't even, there is no second layer of authentication, there is no two-factor authentication. It doesn't ask you for verification. Once your SSH key is leaked, essentially all platforms treat it like they do not ask you for another layer. So that is what makes it so difficult. So yes, let me just okay, where is my comment? Oh right,
Think we can hit 5 hours.
This is not a OTC call.
Right.
So are you committing it in the background? Basically, amending it.
Yes, I'm amending it. It'll ask me for my password. I'll enter my password. It'll sign the commit, and then I'll force push. If you did I share the link in the chat? No.
Yes.
So you all can go and verify that right now doesn't say verified. The commit is not verified. When once I force push, I'll let you know, and it should say for verified. Okay. Okay, I have force pushed. It might take a couple of minutes to update.
A couple of minutes? Really?
More like
Yes.
couple of hours, but okay, yeah.
No, like GitHub.
We all know how good programmers are at estimating time.
Right. Estimate the
Right.
worst case. Yet, look at our estimation and our current time, 2:52. Come on, Karthik, let's get it done under 3. Or
Under 3 hours. Yes, that is my new goal.
Under 3 is not going to be possible. I'm calling it right now.
You just want this to be to go on till 10:30, right?
Actually, no. I want to go get dinner after this. So.
No, you can get dinner right now. There's no problem.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, no one is watching.
No, 7 people are watching.
Huh. Okay.
But, have you really? Can you refresh once? Should GitHub really take this long? You haven't posted the PR comment, right? Because it's still showing 17 minutes.
No, I have force pushed. Force pushes sometimes take longer to update because GitHub has to verify them.
Okay. Let's see.
All right. See. This is done. Verified.
Oh, nice.
Right.
So finally, we can click the button, the very majestic create PR button that we all were chanting for.
Yes, sure. Let me pull that up. You can do that on stream. Because apparently that is what you want. Let's see. Share tab. Yes. So and done.
Okay, so finally we have the PR. Can you share the link? we want to get the we'll subscribe
Sure.
for this
Subscribe to this
PR.
thing.
We we want to check the
Before you
reviews that
subscribe
we
to the
get.
PR, subscribe to Developer Days.
Oh yeah, for
And
all the
follow
7
me on
people who are
Twitter.
watching.
And follow me on Twitter at SKXRXL.
Okay, so thank you to the 3 people who didn't have to watch but still watched.
Yes.
Okay, and then I think that is all. So
So let's pick
finish
out
before
another
3
issue.
hours. No.
Karthik, you
So-
lost man. Sorry, Srikaran, you lost
Srikaran.
man.
Sorry?
We did it under 3.
Oh,
Hours.
yes.
Yes. So
At
Good
this
for
point,
you.
I'm waiting for. I think we all are waiting for Sonal and Neeraj to come back on stage.
Yes.
No, they left. They left 1 hour ago.
oh, you're still
They
here.
gave up on us.
Oh God.
Sonal, we are very sorry.
I don't think I'll ever be invited again onto
Karthik,
any
show
of
your
the
face at
events.
least now.
Oh yes, sure. Okay, let's see. Hello.
All we can see is a black screen.
Yep. Can you remove the camera filter?
Is this
there
some?
Whatever
is
Did
camera.
you remove the lens cap?
no, seriously, you can't see my face.
No.
Nope, it's all black.
I mean, I can see my
Something I should have said.
camera. So,
The stream is not over
Now
until
does
you
it
see
work?
Karthik's face. No.
Nope. Go to your mic cam settings and select the correct
We have
camera if
not
you
we have
have.
not finished. We have not finished until we see Karthik's face. So I mean, we're still not done yet.
I mean, so where is the stream?
We can
Yeah,
see
we
now.
still can't see you. We still can't
Yay!
Thank you.
I mean, I didn't do anything, so
see. Yeah, your audio is leading your video by like a solid 10 seconds.
Okay, the important part is that you saw me, and now we can end the stream.
Now you know this is the moron that's been teaching you how to make a pull request for the last 3 hours.
Yes.
Wow.
So for anyone who ever plans to hire me in the future, look away. Right.
Or expect double the time Karthik quotes for any issue he
Oh, yeah.
is going to
I
solve.
mean, it's not double. I did say that I was planning for 2 hours, so 33% increase. Not bad.
Yep.
So
Considering
Dheeraj, are
how
you going to
bad
come on
developers
stream?
are. Or
So-
Sonal is as he left.
Dheeraj, Sonal, has Dheeraj left you alone here?
No, he's there in the backstage. I would just proceed.
So we are
is
waiting
there...
for him now.
No, we are not waiting for him. I can proceed with the
Okay, sure.
Okay.
If
Okay.
he's not there.
So
Okay.
Hmm.
So if anyone would like to say something more. No?
You want to say something more?
right. No. I think we have said
I
enough.
think we have. Yeah.
Okay. So thank
You've
you
said
everyone
more
for
than enough.
joining in the longest and the last stream of Developer Days. We appreciate our speakers for being sitting long time, for sitting and interacting with all of our viewers.
No,
And
actually,
even
we
after
apologize
you
to
are
the viewers. We
No.
apologize to the viewers.
No,
The
not
longest,
really.
the longest and the last stream of Developer Days, also the shittiest.
No. No. Even if you are software developers, you took the time and showed us how to do the open source in a correct way. And after all, every good thing takes time, so that's the thing. And there is a gentle reminder that there are 27 hours left for the last submission of final challenge. So make sure to submit it on time and grab your amazing swags for getting Bitcoin giveaways from side, you have to make a Twitter thread on today's session and make sure you tag all the speakers and developer days as well. And we have a special giveaway on 1K subscribers. So if there are any more questions, we can take.
Yes, what is the
Not
special
question. But when you said swag, you should have seen. You rewind the video and see Srikanth's expression. I mean, he's like,
I actually did not make any change in expression.
yes,
But we are
that
giving
that
a
was
lot.
the yes.
Okay.
Anyways, so moving on and finishing the stream. Otherwise,
We crossed 3
No,
hours
I
by
have
the way.
yes.
to just mention these sponsors, then I can finish the stream. So
Yes,
thank you
please.
so much for joining in for the last session of Mozilla Developer Student Community and KZ will present Developer Days. Platform partner Defolio, authentication partner Savo Labs, supported by Script Foundation and streaming partner StreamYard, the month-long celebration for developers. Thank you so much. So
Yes.
we can end the stream.